Welcome to week 4, Fretboard Roadmap Caged. We're creating with the C shapes and the A shapes today. This is going to be really fun because there's going to be a lot more that opens up when you can start joining shapes. So, if you remember, week 1 we learned the C shapes. Week 2 we created with the C shapes and we came up with a really cool sounding thing. Here it is. And it goes on from there. All of the solos, all of the layers, all the little twinkly things that you're hearing, that all came from the C shapes. And we ended up doing some, bar chord stuff and, stuff like that wasn't in the C shape just for layers. But when it came to the creative aspects of things, when it came to creating, we were consulting the C shapes, especially in the solo. This week, we get to work with the C and the A shapes. Last week, we worked on the A shapes as part of adding to what we're doing. So let's do this. Let's first listen to the context we have to build on. Then we'll go back and review the A shapes. And we'll review the C shapes just a little bit too. And then we'll contextualize them based on the track that we have. Find out what key, find out what positions we're playing in, what's available to us. And then from there, we'll get started. Let me check in with questions just to see if there is anything initial right off the bat. Nope, looks like we're good. Okay, so here is the context we have this week. Okay, so the chord progression changes there a little. It's a little bit more upbeat than last week's. It's definitely more aggressive sounding. Yeah, this is going to be fun. And so there's the A and the B section. All right, so we want to figure out what key we're in. We're in E. Okay, turn my guitar up here a little. Okay, so we know we're in E. Let's go now and review the A shapes, and we'll check on the C shapes too, to get our minds warmed up for where we're going here. Okay, so here are the A shapes. This is the scale. This is what we worked on last week. 3, 5, 7, 3, 5, 7. 4, 5, 7, 5, 6, 8, 5, 7, 8. Scale again. Scale one more time. Turn my guitar a little more. Okay. And that fits inside that scale. Houses this chord. You can especially see it with those three notes. Okay, chord. Arpeggio, measure 11. Three, 7, 5, 5, 5, 3, 8. Quite the stretch. Chord. And then here's the pentatonic we're using. Starts here, 3, 5. This is measure 15, middle of the page. Well, end of the page, but middle of the screen. 3, 5, 3, 5, 2, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5. And back down. Again. Okay, so those are the positions that we worked with in the key of C. Those are the A shapes. Now we're in the key of E, so we want to find where an E is on our A string and do everything in E. Okay, here are those shapes in E. Just a little bit further up on the neck here. And this should be review, remember. Scale. Chord, arpeggio, I feel like this is easier to see here on the higher frets. How the arpeggio and the chord kind of all outline themselves because everything's a bit closer together. Okay, so we have the chord, the scale, the arpeggio, and the pentatonic scale. If you feel like I'm moving fast, it's because, and I've said it a few times, this is review. We want to get to the point to where we're creating. So the supplemental content is available if you're still rusty with these. But also remember from the past examples here, we don't need to be able to blow through these. We just need to know them. We need to be familiar with them because we're going to create with these. These are tools. They're not the end game. Okay, so that's what we're doing with the A shapes in that area. Let's look at the C shapes in this area. So let's go review the C shapes real quick. We did these the first week. And we've got scale, chord, arpeggio, and the pentatonic. This is in the key of C, remember. And then we've got the pentatonic an octave higher, all the way up here. And we can do all of those an octave higher because they're closed that way. Arpeggio, scale, chord. So now let's take a look at where those are accessible in the key of E. So remember, we have our A shape, we have our C shape right here. So we have the scale, chord, arpeggio, pentatonic, arpeggio, pentatonic, chord. So if we decide we want to go up and down in a variety of ways, there's all sorts of ways to do that, right? Up this arpeggio, down this arpeggio. Up this scale, this is the A scale. Oops. And then we go down the arpeggio for the C shape. One pentatonic to the next pentatonic. Right here we've got the E pentatonic. We've got both scales. So there's all sorts of different ways to combine these, and really limitless ways to combine stuff. Now we need to go back to the context and start figuring out what we're going to do. Remember, we're responsible for rhythms, leads, textures, all sorts of fun things. So let's see what we got going on here. Check into some questions real quick. Drag 15, I guess you're doing a 3 and a string scale now. I thought the last time the scale was not 3 in a string, but I may be getting the courses mixed up. They're not specifically 3 on a string, but this one happens to be very close to the same, to a 3 on a string position. So we're not going for, oh, if it's not 3 on a string, we're not doing it. But this one is very 3 on a string-ish. There is another version of it in that outlines. Well, we're in the key of E right now. We could be doing this position, which I shared with you last week. But the reason I didn't include that one is because we had been doing 3 on a string scales in the original fretboard roadmap, and so with this shape, with the A shape, it could go a couple different ways. And I thought, for consistency's sake, we'd focus on the A shape that's based more around the 3 on a string scale. I hope that makes sense. I was trying to make it a little easier and more sort of streamlined. Okay. Why are you changing position twice while doing the pentatonic scale instead of using 2 fingers? I don't know. That works great too. I think fingering is one of those things that should come secondary to phrasing. So you should be able to do both. But you want to make sure that you're not tied so closely to a fingering that you don't phrase, which I wouldn't know if you were doing that or not. But a lot of times for me, I think phrasing before fingering. And a lot of times this sort of, when I'm playing an interval like this, I generally use these 2 fingers because I like the way it feels instead of that. And then when I'm playing a phrase like this, I generally use these 2, which you would use either way, as opposed to just more, there's more coordination here. Or maybe sometimes I'd do this. If I was, you know, messing around fingering wise that way. Good question though. So if you're in the key of E, those C and A shape patterns have to be there and not move. Right. Right, Condors, that is correct. So we are bound to these areas this week. Good questions. All right, let's listen. Okay, so we got to figure out the chords here. So we've got E, E to A, D, ooh, what's that? That'd be an A with a C sharp in the bass. So let's start there. Show you what I'm looking at here. E, D, A, to B. Okay, so this moves around quite a bit. Let's listen to that section again. Well, we'll do the first two sections here. Da, 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 da. I'm just using basic chords right now because I like the thought process with basic chords. So here we go. E, A, oh, then we go to D. Okay, let me take that again. And then it starts over again. Okay, so there's some interesting things going on there, chordally and rhythmically, but I have an idea now of what the two sections are doing. So the first section, we've got basically 1, 4, 5. So if I'm going to do that here with the C and the A shapes, there's E. Let's just stick with, now that we know the progression, let's come up with some things that aren't necessarily tied in terms of chord changes necessarily, but let's experiment with this area. We know we're in the key of E. We're all in the key of E. Everything, even this chord, is in E. So let's just experiment here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this part of the chord here, that triad, test, test, and I'm going to play that over that A section and see what happens. Oh, so there's A. So I need an A chord. I really do need to go to that A. I need an A chord. I could do that. Where would there be an A chord in a C shape? So I could do this. Or I could use just part of that. Ooh. Or, so for fingering wise, I could just take that and that. Do you see how powerful that just was? We used the the A shape E chord, took part of it, and then we found where we could play in a C-shaped A chord and took part of that, and we came up with this. Cool, huh? So, let's try that. Let's just let the track play. So we know that if this is an A, if we move it up one more, it's a B chord, C shape. So we can just take the part of that, and we've got E, A, B. And I suppose we could go down there if we really wanted to for the B, but I like that. I like that quite a bit. Let's check into some questions here. Are you getting the chords from the bass line? Yeah, I was listening to the bass line and then figuring out, well, we're in the key of E, sounds like we're in the key of E. What are the typical chords that would be in E, and then going from there. It's about knowing your key signatures, and yeah, knowing your intervals is huge. Great. Okay. So let's go back to here. Does it go to the B there? I'm gonna look at the very end. Yeah, it does. So start from here. This isn't the line that I'd play. Chords and the position down. Okay. Well, I'm going to develop a line based on that. But first I need to go and make some new tracks because last week. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this one because it's basic, and we're going to duplicate it. And bring it down here, and then I'm going to stack all these. Create track stack, folder stack is fine, and we'll label this song 1. Ooh, no, song C shape. And then that's good, and then we'll mute those because we don't care about that song this week. And now we've got this. So now I can feel free to mess with the tone however I want. Now remember, I've got scales that I can use. In addition to these chords. So I'm not just limited by actually playing the chords. So I'm going to get a little bit more aggressive with this. Not that aggressive. And see if I like anything based on what we're doing in the song. I got to get my mix better though. Do it again. I don't know, maybe something like that would sound good. I'm going to turn my guitar down a little bit. Take this section by section here. I'm liking some of that. Getting the groove right now. No. I like that. Let's listen back. It's close. Maybe a bit busy. I like that better. Okay, but we're only concerned about that particular one, so yeah, okay, good. How are we doing on questions? Kind of losing. Sorry. So you're playing the rhythm part the same, just in different position. I derived this. This right here is part of the A-shaped E chord, which is allowed this week. And then this is a C shape, which we're allowed to use. A chord, which is what happens in the progression. And this is a B shape, or sorry, a C shape B chord. So that's what I'm using. I'm using the C and the A shape positions around the E, the A, and the B chords. Hopefully that makes more sense. Okay. Let's listen again here. Okay, that's good, and that can exist here. If we go and paste this over here, because we know that that's the same section. So now we need a B section. But I think before we do a B section for this one, I want to do some MIDI chords. So we're just going to do some basic MIDI chords here. And I'm getting a lot of rhythm from the bass and the drums and this. So I don't want to walk on that rhythm. I want to be cognizant of what's going on. So I might be doing just like a See how something like that works. It's all about arranging and not getting in people's way. So let's give this a try. From the count off. I think that works great. Just adding a little bit of texture in there. So we're supporting this right here. This is that hooky rhythm that I laid down using those shapes. So let's see what other support we can put in there. These are kind of... Now I'm doing this, so I'm playing in the higher area, so I may be able to get away with doing like, I don't know, some sort of straight rhythm. That might not work. Let's try it. So I kind of like the idea of keeping up that rhythm a little bit there. That's cool. Sounds really classic rocky if I take that same, this is the A shape, right? Fair game. Doing that an octave lower in certain places. That's from the pentatonic scale, if you remember that from this week. So we'll go to an A bar chord there. All sorts of fun. So I do that twice. No, I definitely want to mirror that lick. Missed it. Missed it again. Let's try it again. Yeah, I think that works really nicely. So we could take these and we could put them in our second A section. Just like so, and play. Yeah, that's feeling good. So we do have this area, which is our B section, next. Let's spend a little bit of time there, but first, let's see if we got any more questions? No. Okay, so let's spend a little bit of time on the B section here. I'm just going to create a new track here. And notice I'm not really doing a whole lot with tone even. So we got an A-shaped chord there, A-shaped chord here. Could do that. Okay, so we could continue. We can continue with that same vibe on this track. I'm going to do that and just see what happens. In the right chord. That doesn't fit, but we can add, remember we have the scales, that is this chord, a D chord, but we're playing this section and then we're borrowing that note from the scale position. Right? So now we got well, that's really just an A chord. And because other people are doing that, we don't necessarily need to do it. So where was our A? It was here. So we've got it pretty simple. We can go see how I did that? I decided that someone else was going to take care of that root, and I identified what chord it was, and I went back to this. That helps us keep sort of the congruency between the whole thing. Ooh. So we are on the A twice there. We go to the B at the end. Okay, let's see if we can get into the vibe of that first track. I like that. Again, just from the scale. Yeah, we got that B. Slide up there at the end. I think that works. I think part of the reason that's going to work is because this being the B section, we're probably going to add another element. So we don't want this one to be quite as hooky as the first one. But we've got that nice doubling theme going on. So let's carry that into this section. We're gonna be based more off of the A shape, but the lower parts of the chord. Probably something like that, all A shapes. I'm betting that'll work. Let's try to do something there with that other guitar. Okay, now we need our low filler stuff like we had in the other section. Ah. Okay. Listening back here to the two sections. So yeah, we could take this to the end here, and I'm snapping to the grid so I can easily drag it over. Like that. Yeah. Okay. So now we just we should experiment with. I think the only place that this really needs lead per se, because we already have that hooky thing happening in the verses or in the A section. I think we just need something over the B section to bring it up a notch. So I'm gonna just go with the same tone, except I'm gonna put a little something on it. Maybe oops. Turn this up a little. I want more drive. How about we go back here And we'll turn this up a little bit of hum, but nobody will hear that. Okay, so we'll get into the vibe here with part of the A section. Oops, don't want to punch. We also don't want to be on that track. Oh man, I am disagreeing with myself. There's a definite melody that's standing out based on this pentatonic scale. Or would it be better? Actually be better in the C shape. See how I did that? I heard it in my head. I heard it here, but it actually... That's going to sound great over over that first part. That melody needs to be there, and it stays out of the way. Let's see if we can develop that a little bit. What's neat about it is it answers that da, da, da. Everybody's sort of playing that together. I like that. So let's keep developing it. I got to be able to get back to that melody there. Ah. All from the C-shaped pentatonic. That's nice. It's not as fast, but that's okay. I don't need that. Ah. Ah. I like that. It's getting there. It's certainly getting there. Just using the different shapes and being inspired by these shapes. Got to get back to it. I like all that. Let's hear it. So that melody is coming from it's coming from the E scale. Right there, and it's I think there's some phrasing things I could do to make that sit better. Let's give it a try here. Yeah, I'm gonna do this a couple times here. See if I can't come up with something a little cooler. We're gonna do that. Yeah. Yeah, that solo would evolve over time, of course. But we are going to do this for now and listen back in the entirety. Basically have to hear it twice. I'd fix that punch if I was going to keep it. It needs an ending. But I hope you see how powerful these shapes are. We had a question here. If we don't have any music making software, what would be a good way to practice this? Well, you can practice stuff just, you know, like we were doing before, learning the scale patterns and stuff like that. But I would encourage you, don't let that be a limitation. Get some music making software. GarageBand, if you have a Mac, is free. There are lots of free stuff for PCs as well. You can get Audacity for PC or Mac. It's free. If you have a little drum looper, you can put some drum loops in, and after that, it's just a matter of plugging in your guitar. Even if things don't sound quite right at the beginning, that's okay. Part of improving with your guitar, a big part of it, is recording, is making a record of your, not making a record like a physical record or even making an album, but creating with your music. And the best way to create is to have the recorded medium. I mean, what other way are you going to be able to listen back, right? I mean, you could perform too, but performing, if you record yourself, you give yourself feedback about how you're doing. And I did a whole course on this. I did starting to record, actually 2 courses, starting to record and rut busting practice tips. So I would encourage you, if you don't have any music making software, get some. Don't make excuses about that. Okay, more questions here. Do you ever just record the guitar direct and then reamp it later? Oh yeah, all the time. I mean, this is probably going to be, you know, if I were to do more with this, I probably wouldn't even choose those tones. I just had basic, and I am recording direct, but just basic Logic sounds, and I might go back in and fiddle with those a little bit. Is the lead part all pentatonic E? No, it's all these positions. It's all these 2 positions. And then, and now I am using the scale. That's where my melody came from. And then I'm going back to the pentatonic there. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks so much for your questions. Thanks so much for your interaction. I hope you're seeing how powerful these shapes are in this context. Again, it's not about blowing through them and shredding with them. It's about using them as vehicles for creativity. And what other way are you going to really measure your creativity? Doing simple recording projects just like this. You guys have the backing track, drums and bass, in the supplemental content here. So you can import this into your own recording software and add your own parts. So no excuses. I hope to hear some of you guys doing this. We'll see you next week for week 5, where we're going to work on the G shapes.